Hi, welcome to my channel, Grit, Grind and Gratitude, where we talk to micro entrepreneurs about their journey of becoming a micro entrepreneur and walking that path. Grit, Grind and Gratitude shares stories of resilience, of purpose, and values led entrepreneurs who are shaping their futures boldly. So welcome formally Tasneem.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really grateful to be here.
So Tasneem, I know you when I ordered cake for my husband, and we really enjoyed the cake, and I came to know that you've been serving a lot of my friends actually.
Okay.
And Arundhati and others. Yes. So I have been hearing about the good work ever since you came into the focus, and so take us through. Introduce yourself the way you would want the world to know you.
Okay, great. Happy to hear that, first of all. I'm Tasneem Manasawala, the founder and artist of Joyful Treats. Joyful Treats has begun just out of passion. It was born out of my own kitchen, where me and I've always been a fan of desserts and good quality desserts, like not desserts but that are very sugary, where are very that leave an aftertaste in your palate. No. So I've always been after that, and I enjoyed baking since very young, but just as a hobby. Life took its course, and I was very passionate about studying human genetics. So I did my master's here in Dubai, and sadly during that time there was not enough opportunities in that particular field. So I decided to take a step back and got busy with my regular life, and I had some kids. So after that, the passion just rose back. My husband was actually on a nutrition based diet, and we both are sweet tooths. But like I mentioned, we really enjoy good quality desserts. So he was allowed to eat some kind of desserts which were having some balance of good taste as well as healthy ingredients. So I started with granola, and we were a big fan of brownies. So I started making brownies with almond flour. And at that point of time, this is almost 7 years back, nobody in Dubai was making any gluten-free bakes that I knew of, and it really picked up because regular flour was replaced with almond flour, and then I was using no refined sugars. So when I say no refined sugars, we were adding coconut sugar and unrefined other forms of sugars, which is still not bad for the body compared to the artificial sweeteners, because you don't know where they're coming from and what kind of chemicals they are. So actually my journey really picked up from there, and I got really popular with the brownies, and with the support of family, friends, and the community that I live in, the place here in Dubai, they started giving me a lot of great feedback, and then also the opportunity to start making cakes. And that's where my creativity came into picture. So I was always a big fan of art, and had studied art also growing up, and so the knowledge of science, the knowledge of art, everything just fell in place, and the brand started getting more visibility, started growing, and I had no idea I was actually going to even make it into a business. 4 years down the line, it grew to a point where I didn't want to kind of continue this journey from home, and I wanted to take a step forward to scale this up in order to see how the product is working in a larger space. So I moved into a cloud kitchen back in Al Quoz, and I didn't want to really move into a retail space right away because I was not mentally ready for it. But yeah, I moved into a cloud kitchen where I could further test the product. So then I hired a small team to support me. I started delegating work, and that's when I started foreseeing the business side of my journey, and that was again a change. Like, there was a pivotal change, because me being a creative person, and also when you're in science, you're not business minded, and that's when I started learning about how in the real world it's more about making how business works compared to just making the product. So yeah, I mean, it's been 2 years that I continued my journey from the cloud kitchen, and the brand grew The product itself spoke. The quality mattered, and people just organically kept coming back for it. I did not invest a lot in marketing, to be honest. And then after that, after 2 years, I wanted to move into my own private space. So then we moved here in JLT, and we've been here for a year now. I have my own private space. It does have a shop front, but we are still not ready to kind of open it to public. But eventually, I mean, that is the plan. We will be, having a shop front to ourselves. So yeah, I mean, this is where I am, and now I manage the business while I have a small team where they help me with the operations and backend and all of the support. Yeah, it's been an amazing journey with a lot of challenges as well as a lot of learning. So I'm glad. I mean, staying from home and doing this, I wouldn't have known how things actually work in the real world. So I'm glad I took the leap and I'm here today.
So great, from human genetics and from there to engineering cakes. Wow. Cakes and healthy treats. That's quite a journey. So Tasneem, how many, so you said out of the 7 years, the 5 years were from home, and then the last 2 years have been in a formal, where you are hiring the cloud kitchen. And
So
you're
no, 4
hiring
years
people.
from home, and then 3 years now we are legally operating the business.
Great. So, how many people do you hire? How many kind of
I've
cakes do
had
you make in a month?
So when I started, I hired, we were 3 and then myself 4. And that time my sister was also along with me. So she was kind of helping me grow the brand. And she's also a creative head. But she had some of her own challenges and she had to back out. So then I hired another staff. So we are a team of 3 and me 4 running the business, yes.
Okay. And how many cakes a month are you kind of treating people to?
Honestly, I don't have a count of, but quite a lot now. Yeah, quite a
Yeah, I
lot.
know that you back to back, often I hear, because we're in the same community,
Okay.
JLT, we often hear that, oh, we like the cake, and then we hear, oh, it came from Joyful Treats.
Oh, happy to hear that. Yeah, that's what I've been very organic with my journey, to be honest. But like I mentioned, the product speaks for itself. So what my priorities are, is the consistency of the product that goes out every single time has to be on point. And for that, I have set SOPs for the team over time. So they have to follow those SOPs, and that's where quality, consistency, everything falls into place. And any product that I create new needs to have that quality. For me, if me and my family will not eat it, I will not serve it. That's personally how I see the brand growing. And there are companies, larger companies, for them it's purely a business, right? For me, it's still a passion-driven business. So for me, the taste is more important than anything else.
So, you said that you had to learn business because you came from a background of science and you didn't have exposure to business concepts. So, what were the particular areas of business that you found challenging?
My biggest challenge even today is actually marketing. I still can't get my head around with how things work. I think when you're in business, you just have to network with a lot of people. You have to make those collaborations. I am a little bit of an introvert. Like, I've always been in my shell, in my space. Even when I'm creating things back in the kitchen, I like to be around my team or just by myself, having those thoughts over. So that's one of my personal challenge is networking and making those collaborations.
And how about managing finance and allocating, understanding costing, pricing?
Yeah, I have learned that over time. Now we have everything in place, and we do have an accountant as well, but everything has been like even the costing for the products and how to price them, everything has been learned over a period of 3 years, I would say. Yeah, but before that, nothing.
Tell me one more thing, Tasneem. As you grow big, as the number of orders often come, we see that when organizations or even small businesses, when they're growing big, there comes a point where you will have to make less and less of cakes and more of holding the entire business together. What part of your business are you never willing to let go of?
Like I mentioned, the quality and the taste. Yeah, because that's what the product is about. I mean, people come back for that. And if I start to compromise on that, and then compromising on that means I'm compromising on my ingredients, I'm compromising on my team. So that's something I'm not willing to, even if the brand goes to the next level.
Great. What about meeting customers, getting feedback? That's
something I really enjoy. I think that's something that keeps motivating me to work harder, because every single day, either in the morning or before going to bed, I will receive some positive feedback about the cake that went yesterday or during the week. And I think that just keeps me going. So that's actually the joy of the brand. Yeah.
Great. So I hear you say that number one is production. You will not let go of the quality testing of the product, and you will not let go of customer feedback. And have you ever received any customer who's not been happy, and how have you dealt with that?
Yeah, I mean, it is a business, right? And we're all human beings at the end of the day. There are some times, it's very rare, I would say, with us, but there are times where a customer might not be happy with the service, I would say, as per the actual product. So product-wise, we rarely, I can barely count on my fingers, have received any negative feedback. But yeah, maybe sometimes, delivery timings or, delayed order or things like that. Yeah, it has been. So what we do is we try to explain to the customer why and what happened. Obviously, we have communicated to the team and we found out, we've actually dug through what was the reason, and then we'll explain to the customer and we'll offer a small gesture, as in something complimentary next time, or we still want to not disappoint the customer, because we've tried our best from our side, but these small things sometimes can happen.
Great. You said you've got a team of 3. How did you go about hiring? Was there any kind of process that you followed, or intuitively you attracted the right kind of people to your team?
So as I was planning my journey to step out from home, I would always through my suppliers or people in the industry, I would speak to them that, listen, I'm looking for a chef. I want to hire somebody to kind of delegate my work, but somebody a little bit experienced. And I was fortunate enough actually to find the lady who is my head chef. I found her through a reference. I did 2 test runs, and I think it's just the energy that also vibed, and I see myself in her now. I've trained her over 3 years, and she is now literally my shadow. So I'm just at the end stage where I see the cake is fine, and I'll be like, okay, now it can go, So, and she was the one who actually got me the other staff as well. So they were all experienced, all doing the similar kind of industry. And I do have trial runs for them. I do test them for a few days. Sometimes I do 2 or 3 interviews to just make sure they're good in the work, because they're not laborers, right? So they are skilled people. So they need to have the skill in them in order to follow the kind of work we do. And then the main head chef trains the others as they come now.
So what are some values that you hold deeply in the business that you'll never compromise, that guides you when you're making decisions about certain things?
For me, consistency and change. So if you're consistent and disciplined with the work and the routine and the promises that you give out, I think it is true actually. The customers see it in you, and they see the commitment in you, and they start trusting. And once they start trusting you, then it's a relationship that you build with your customers, and eyes closed, they're going to keep coming back to you. Secondly, change is something that I constantly believe in. I feel like if you keep adapting yourself and changing with time, uh, you're bound to succeed. It's how fast you do it, because time now is changing so quickly, and especially in an industry like us where trends change every month. Something goes viral, something just, even in the cake designs, there's so much that keeps happening. So I would say past 1 to 2 years, the trends have been changing even faster than when I actually started. And that was a little bit difficult because I'm not used to that constant change, but I think if that's what the market demands for. So yeah, that's my belief.
Great. So apparently consistency and change are contradictory. So if you're consistently doing something, then you are not inviting change, because the moment you deviate from the discipline, but you see change in a different light. You're seeing change to keep up with the times, to be in touch with what's going or picking up in the market, as we said, viral and food habits. Did you do anything around Dubai chocolate?
Yeah, we did actually come up with the brownie version of it. Yeah.
Cool. Any other intrinsic value that you hold as a person and in your day-to-day living that gets shown to people around you?
Like I mentioned, for me, one is adapting to change, and secondly, I'm just a simple person. I just like everything to be simple. I know Dubai is a place where everything is like a big show, but me as a human being, I'm just very simple in my own way, in my own life as well.
Great. Simplicity, consistency, and keeping up with the times. Yeah, cool. Do you have a vision for your business where you want to take it to, or do you want to leave it to the forces beyond our control?
I do have a vision. I want to have multiple branches here to begin with. I foresee it. It's just that I don't know how I'm going to kind of take that route and how it's going to build. It means I have not foreseen the numbers behind it, but yeah, that's my vision.
Cool. How quickly do you see yourself scaling to the next level where you actually have a small storefront or a store, cafe, kind of a thing?
Hopefully in 2026, if all goes well.
Cool. Yeah. Fingers crossed. Great. I'm sure, life is a bit of smiles and a bit of tears. So there would be challenging times, trying times when you sat on your bed and you dreamt about, oh God, why or how have I come to this point? Just take a moment to reflect on the last 7 years and any challenges that have kept you awake at night, brought tears in your eyes, or moments of vulnerability, it's not an easy journey being a micro-entrepreneur.
Yeah, I agree with you. There have been many instances like that. Sometimes the fear is, oh my God, there are too many orders, and how am I going to kind of, make everything smooth and on time? So that planning is going on even while I'm sleeping. Sometimes there are challenges where, you have to pay the bills. Am I done enough this month to kind of pay all the bills? So that was more in the initial stages. Now, like I spoke about, I've streamlined a lot of things into the business. So those sleepless nights are less now.
Yeah. Good. Any challenges that you forecast in the future as you grow from being sharing a space in a cloud kitchen to opening a storefront?
Yes, actually, I am still thinking of, because I've not been into the hospitality industry where you're welcoming customers and having that interaction. So that is something that I am a bit nervous about. But it's another project for me, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, especially because you're an introvert. I think, it taxes introverts to have your energy being drawn into customer interactions. So
Yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe it's a good idea because you've outsourced, you did with consultants the business planning. So maybe you could have somebody who's more pleasant, who's taking care of the customer feedback, formalizing, and maybe you only deal with customers who are delighted, like super delighted, or who are super angry or upset. So
Yeah.
you only deal with the extremes. Um, will your team expand as well as you move
Yes.
from 3 people, you're foreseeing an expansion to how many people?
For now, we probably one more just to handle the shop front. But yeah, I will give this another 1 year as a test period to see how this works and what kind of visibility we are getting. Actually, mainly I'm doing this for visibility because so far we've been an online brand, but having a signage and a storefront will probably change the game for us. And this 1 year is going to be like a test phase for me. And after 1 year, I'll give you that answer.
So Dasneem, one more question I have for people who want to list their businesses on Careem or Deliveroo. I know you are available through those channels. How do you do it? What are the steps for people to know simple things like these? Can you share?
It's pretty simple. You just have to contact their customer service. They will assign an account manager for you. And then the account manager will help you set up your brand on the platform. So they are aggregators. So on the platform, they have a small registration fee and then they have commission models. And that's about it. And then you have to list your products on the platform. And yeah, you have to train
Okay,
your
so it's
team.
fairly simple that way.
Yeah.
And between Deliveroo and Careem, would you recommend one if somebody wants to just do one channel?
It depends on your product, to be honest. Deliveroo customers are very different from Careem customers. Deliveroo I wouldn't be able to really comment on that, but it really depends on your product. Yeah, you have to kind of do that research. For us as a business, I would prefer to be on all platforms.
Okay, great. So we've talked about your starting, your journey, your challenges, the purpose and the vision and the values that guide your business. Tell me some of the nuggets of wisdom that you want to share from your 7 years experience for anybody who would be starting out their own business.
To be honest, I think you need some kind of experience to start off as a business. Some kind of experience of the product and some kind of knowledge of how to run a business is where the challenges where I faced was to make it into a business, right? So I think and secondly, it's the numbers. At the end of the day, it's a number game. So you need to be very strong and forecast your numbers if you're doing it into business, and then have the timelines within a year, within 2 years, within 5 years. These are the numbers that you want to achieve, and then start moving backwards. So if you're on par with that, I think you're able to kind of foresee and able to achieve your vision.
So did you do the numbers for your business or somebody else helped you with that?
No, we had hired a consultant when I moved out from home into actually setting up a business. We did have consultants and they had done the whole forecast for us. Obviously, the forecast that they made for us was not in line with our vision. Like I mentioned, I wanted to test the product into the real world before getting into a retail store or going big. So then we revised that kind of forecast with them, and then we saw, okay, this is achievable, and then I stepped into the cloud kitchen. But yeah, we had everything. It was a plan. Specific to baking and confectionery, like if you're an artist like how I am, I would say doing a small or short business course and having that knowledge, and secondly having knowledge on accounting, and do a little consultation and forecast your numbers before you step into, because there are many surprises that come into picture once you actually. Food business is something that you have to be careful here in UAE, because there are a lot of strict laws that you need to follow, and yeah, just make sure you have all the knowledge and all the information before you kind of take that leap.
Cool. As we close this conversation, is there anything that you would like us to know that we haven't asked you about?
Besides that, I would just like to share that I'm also a mom of 2 boys, and I started my journey very young when they were like literally 3 and 1.5. So those times were tough, though. Even I had a separate space in my house that was created only for my work, but it was challenging. They say that when you do things from home, it's easier, but with having little ones around, it was challenging. But I was very focused. I was very passionate with what I was doing. So yeah, I mean, they've really supported me. I mean, my husband is my back. So yeah, I mean, if he wasn't my constant mentor, motivation also, I wouldn't have been here. So a big thank you to my family.
So Tasneem, we talked about your journey, you moving out from your home into a storefront and a shared kitchen. What have been the high points in the last 7 years of your journey?
I think the fact that it was a homegrown business to just moving into the commercial space, and it's been a journey by itself, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it gives me a sense of belonging, a sense of
Pride.
something that I did, and the kind of feedback that we receive on our products, I think that is something that really makes me happy and makes me want to grow this business even further. So that's the joy. Secondly, the kind of team support that I have. I think constantly, if that was not there, I wouldn't have been able to be here. So I'm really thankful to my team. And recently we did a cake for my very loyal customer who has been ordering 6 years regularly with us. And we did a 3-tier cake. And literally, they live in a joint family, and all of them called me together on a single call, and they were shouting that the cake was amazing. I think that made my everything worth it. Yeah. So these kind of customer testimonials is something that we really thrive for.
Any other thing that you think you've missed out, miss telling us?
I think we pretty much covered everything very well, and I'm really thankful for your time and grateful to be here as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Tasneem, as you make more and more people happy with your joyful treats and tasty, healthy desserts.
Thank you so much.
If you like this interview, please don't forget to subscribe by pressing the bell icon and follow us on our social media handles as we talk to more and more micro entrepreneurs who are living their dreams boldly.